LA Rams, LA Rams, what's good? You ready? Let's go. It's Mike Nice. Let's go. Come on. This is the Rams house. Whose house? Rams house. Whose house? My team, my house. This is whose team? My team. Whose team? My dream, my team. Rams house. Whose house? Rams house. Whose house? My team, my house. This is whose team? My team.
Ramily. I'm back. Took a little break. I just had my son Tatum born 5 days ago. So just getting adjusted. Had a little bit of time, so figured let's get it in with a post-game show. Rams win 28-20. Quickly, if you're new here or a returning member, like, subscribe, share, all that good jazz. We eclipsed 1,000 on the road to 2K. And, I'm feeling good right now. As I told you guys, ski mask season. We're rocking right now, 4-1 in the ski mask season. What a good game yesterday, but towards the end, some flaws happened. Quickly, let's get into the numbers, though. The Rams had 445 total yards of offense, 249 passing yards, 196 rushing yards at a clips of 6.1 yards per play. They had 23 first downs, 9 of 16 on third down, allowed 3 sacks, punted 3 times, 5 penalties, 2 fumbles lost, time of possession, nearly 36 minutes. Individual stats: Stafford, 25 of 33, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, continuing to ball out. Kyren Williams, 27 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown with those 2 fumbles. Cooper Kupp, another 100-yard game, 8 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Puka Nacua, 5 catches, 50 yards. Demarcus Robinson, the new number 3 wide receiver, 2 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Tyler Higbee, 4 catches, 36 yards. Quentin Lake, in his first game back, had 4 tackles. Ernest Jones with the lone sack on the day. And John Johnson III with an interception again. The man has been balling. And then the guy that gets me the most nervous on this team, Lucas Haversick, 2 of 3, long of 27 yards, put up 8 points. Ethan Evans continuing to rock the punt game, 3 punts, 134 yards, 44.7 average, 1 punt inside the 20. So this game, the Rams dominated it. The score may look close, but there's a lot of things that played a factor in the Rams not really winning this game by 20 plus. Kyren Williams with the fumble issues, that is definitely something I don't expect. Again, he got his fumble woes out the way. Something like Cam Akers. When Cam Akers would fumble, he would just fumble multiple times, and then he would have a nice stretch. Got to protect the ball. Obviously, now that he did fumble, teams are going to try to really strip him every time he runs, so he's going to have to really get a nice grip on that ball prior to contact. Those are 2 fumbles, but I mean, one fumble we were close to scoring. The other fumble, we ended up blocking a punt and getting the ball pretty much where he fumbled originally, so it didn't really play a huge factor. It's just not good to see. You don't want to fumble. A team like Washington is a team I expected us to win by at least 10. And it was looking that way. It was 28-7. In comes Jacoby Brissett, finds a wide open Terry McLaurin. And guess who was on coverage? Darion Kendrick. Now, this man has looked good as of late, but he looked bad in this fourth quarter. He got burnt to make it a 28-14 game. The Rams end up punting back to Washington. Brissett again looks his way. I mean, they obviously figured something late in this game. Thankfully, they didn't realize that was a mismatch earlier, but Brissett throws a bomb, finds Terry McLaurin again, and thankfully, his knee was down at the 1. Washington then proceeds to run, gets stopped. Penalty on them makes it a 4th and 6. Brissett throws it in the end zone towards Terry McLaurin with DK on coverage, and he gets a pass interference. Of course, the man was just playing horrible. Terry McLaurin was cooking him. Now, Terry McLaurin, I don't know why Washington doesn't try to give this guy 10-plus targets a game, but Eric Bieniemy, you need to step up because Terry McLaurin is one of the best receivers in the game. Just really lacks that quarterback and that target share. And Washington ends up scoring, and the announcers discuss them going for 2 by next gen stats. If they go for 2, it increases their odds of winning. And then if they don't go for 2, the next time they get the ball, they could just go for 2. But that drive ends up killing so much clock. It really played a factor. Went from 5 minutes on the clock to 2. So that was a big down at the 1 call. Thank God his knee was down because this game could have probably have turned out differently. Would have definitely have changed them in their decision making on the Washington side. But anyways, they end up just kicking the extra point, and Jacoby Durant blocks the extra point. He did not sniff the field. He's used on special teams right now, but I'll get more into that later. So he blocks the extra point, 28-20, and now instead of a 7-point game, it's an 8-point game. That increases the Rams' odds, especially if they get the onside kick, which they do. The onside kick goes to Cooper Kupp, and he just smacks it out of bounds. Veteran play there. No need to grab the ball, just smack it out. Rams get ball. Chew the clock, run. Game over. So the Rams win it. Like I said, the score looks close, but there's a lot of boneheaded plays from the fumbles to the Darion Kendrick collapse in the fourth quarter, getting cooked by Terry McLaurin. And, Sam Howell, he was trying to extend plays with his legs. Brissett was just standing in the pocket, chucking it. Big question I have, why are we not playing better coverage when we know they have to throw the ball to get in the game? Jordan Fuller, another guy since the Arizona game, probably the best game of his career. He's definitely looked awful lately. John Johnson has been our best guy at safety. Kelly Witherspoon's been locking up. Every time teams try to test him, doesn't really go well for them. And even when the balls are thrown out of bounds, it's mainly because he's covering so well. There's really nowhere else for the wide receiver to go outside of close to those boundaries. So Kelly Witherspoon, arguably one of the best signings we had this offseason, and the Rams really just killed this offseason with guys like that. Demarcus Robinson. Royce Freeman was a good find as well. The Rams did their thing with the draft, so there's a lot of good, but now the bad. Let me start with the kicker. Lucas Haversick. I get nervous every time he kicks. I don't even want to watch the game. When he's going up to kick, I'd rather just walk away. Sometimes I let my wife know, like, oh, let me know if he makes it or not. Like, the guy just horrible. Has a leg. I feel like he could kick it from 60 plus. But it's going to go wide right or it's going to go wide left. Simple as that. He has no accuracy. he's making these short field goals, but he's missing extra points. Missed a field goal again yesterday, not even close. As soon as he kicks it, you knew it was wide right. It's just ridiculous. Um, your job is to be our kicker. This is what you do. I work 40 hours a week. You kick 40 hours a week. I'm expected to do my job accurately. You're expected to kick accurately. He's not doing that. Crosby, I don't know if we brought him in just to test Haversick, but Haversick kicked better in Baltimore in the rain than he did at home in a dome. Makes no sense. Now Crosby's released and he's like, oh, my job's secure, so I'm going to kick like shit. It's just ridiculous. I feel that kicking is so important, especially in the playoffs. You're going to be kicking outdoors because we probably won't have home field. Obviously, maybe if we're a 6 seed and then the 7 seed ends up making it, that'll be our only home game. We're going to be on the road. And, it's fine when you play in Dallas, but when you go to Philly, San Fran, it's outdoors. It's going to be windy. There's going to be a hostile environment. This guy, do you really trust him? I don't even trust him under 30 yards. And that's an issue. And that's why McVay is going to have to be very aggressive down the stretch in postseason, because we are going to make the postseason. Darion Kendrick played bad enough this game. I think Durant needs to get a look on the outside. Obviously, Tomlinson is not ready, so let's give it to Durant. He was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to be one of our best defenders this year, and he lost his slot role to Quentin Lake, and Quentin Lake is playing great. Tackles, really can cover those slot receivers well. Lateral movements on point, so he's not losing his job. And I think Darion Kendrick, obviously Akello's not, and Darion Kendrick is the odd man out. He is the weak link. Teams are going to know this. They're going to see what McLaurin did, and they're going to test us deep. It's going to happen, especially if Fuller is not playing great in the back. He's a high IQ safety. That's really what he was known for at Ohio State. A high IQ guy that could really read the back end and know where to go. But he didn't help Darion Kendrick, and Kendrick got burned. And you could tell Kendrick was mad at Fuller, but I blame both of you guys. Play a little more back, Raheem, on that, I guess. Maybe 40 yards back. I mean, just to make it fair, right? Darion Kendrick is the guy right now that in practice we're really going to have to look at Durant and him. Durant's tackling is not as good as Kendrick's, which the Rams have always liked corners that can tackle if they're not the best cover guys. Kelly Weatherspoon isn't the best tackler either, but his coverage skills is on point. So that's another thing. Jordan Fuller needs to step his game up. Boom played well for Havenstein, but obviously I feel like when we run to that side now, I don't feel as good. I loved having Dotson and Havenstein on the right side. Boom, I think, is a good depth guy to have, but we definitely need Rob Havenstein back there. Kyron Williams ran well, caught the ball well, but those 2 fumbles, we cannot have that. Could get away with it against teams like Washington, but the Saints team coming up, they're definitely a tougher opponent. Their numbers are pretty much in line with ours, and we can't really afford to have turnovers like this against a team like that. Giants, you probably get away with it. Obviously, teams like San Fran, Dallas, Philly, you definitely want to play flawless football, and if we fumble twice against those teams, it could be a long day. So we got it out of the way. Hopefully, the fumble stop. We did bench him after his fumbles. So benched him for Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman ran the ball pretty well. There's nothing really elusive to Freeman. He's a big back that just runs up his gaps and doesn't really bounce it outside like Kyron or he's not explosive once he gets through those first line of defenders like Kyron. And then Kyron ended up coming in at the goal line on the third down and ran it in for a touchdown. So hopefully that's behind him. We move on. Puka Nacua did have a drop. Puka does seem to drop some balls from time to time, but overall, you can't knock what Puka does. He's a good blocker. He's a good guy on third down. He's a good yak guy. Cooper Kupp, phenomenal game. Over 100 yards back-to-back with another touchdown. 3 games in a row now with the touchdown. He's back. Obviously doesn't look fully healthy. He's still slow when he gets up and pacing himself, but he's fighting through it. They know what's at hand now. This is a playoff push. This team was never going to tank with these guys. I mentioned this from the beginning of the season and before, the draft, everything. We traded Ramsey, Leonard Floyd, Bobby Wagner gone, all these guys gone. Fine. We brought in the replacements. We have a great system in LA. McVay is a great coach. Tanking was never an option. And the fans that wanted to tank, that is ridiculous. And they're really kicking themselves in the ass right now. But hopefully they're over that and let's just move on. We have a playoff push coming. Big games coming up. This game was definitely, as I mentioned, closer than it should have been when you look at the final score, but the Rams dominated all game outside the fourth quarter, those last 10 minutes. I think the Rams are getting hot at the right time. Stafford's last 4 games, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception, playing great ball. You seen what the Ravens did to the Jags yesterday, and we hung 30 plus on these guys. So the Rams are looking solid. They're getting hot. The young guys are getting better week to week. We do have some obvious guys that need to step up or sit the bench. Kicking woes will probably continue. But overall, I'm feeling good. I'm calling it a playoff push, but I'm also calling this a Super Bowl run because if we make the playoffs, it is then a Super Bowl run. Let's make it fun. Let's try to get to at least 9-8. 9-8 should do it. We are currently the 7th seed, and that last game against the 49ers may not be a win and in. It might be a losing in, win, and higher seed, maybe a 6th instead of the 7th. But the Rams just got to win each game, one game at a time. Every other team is handling people in the wild card hunt for us. This week against the Saints, a big game. They're also 7-7 with playoffs implications. They are in the easiest division in football, so they could lose and still make it. But for the Rams, we really got to win this one. But that's it for me, Ramily. Make sure to subscribe, like, share. Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. I'm out.